Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Puncher's Point. Now, before I say anything, I do want to say, Bomb Squad! Deontay Wilder TKOs Tyrrell Herndon by the seventh round. Now, overall, here's what I will say. It is good to see Deontay Wilder back onto the win column. However, there's still some questions left. And even with his career, there's still a lot of things to talk about. But before we can get into any of that, we have to grade this fight. So, overall, before I start grading this fight, I do want to talk about him coming in a little bit heavy. He came in at around a little bit over 220 pounds. They said it was the heaviest he's been since his fight against Tyson Fury. I believe it was the trilogy fight. They said this was the heaviest he's been since then. And you could tell that he really wanted to put that muscle mass on to get that power advantage against Tyrell Herndon, which I didn't think was a bad decision in this fight. You see, the thing is with Deontay Wilder, because he's not one of these heavyweights who are 270 plus pounds, because he's more on the lighter side, there's certain fights where he comes in at 210, and then there's other fights that he comes in at around 220, 230. And that's what I really like about Deontay Wilder is he can adjust his weight based off the opponent he is fighting. But this fight, you could tell that he wanted to make a bang, he wanted to make a splash, and he wanted his power to be known, so he put up a little bit of weight. Now, with all of that being said, seventh round knockout, I thought it was going to be the fifth round. And overall, I mean, I think Deontay Wilder had himself a great game plan. And we're going to get into that right now when we're going to start grading strategy. Let's start off with the strategy grade. Deontay Wilder, three keys to victory I had for Deontay Wilder was to stay composed. And I believe he did that very, very well in this fight. Land the first power punch, which he did. And basically, when you heard him, attack him and pressure him. And he did all three of those things. So I think Deontay Wilder had a great strategy. I think when it comes to Deontay Wilder, I think what stood out to me opposed to other fights was he wasn't just looking to land the right hand. Yeah, he was looking to land it, but usually in a lot of Deontay Wilder fights, that's the only weapon there is that right hand. But Deontay Wilder, he showed a lot more versatility than he did in a lot of fights. If you look at him, he really was relying on that jab. And that jab, I mean, that jab was clicking on all cylinders. And that was something that I really didn't expect from Deontay Wilder in this fight was to basically lead with a jab. I thought Deontay Wilder was going to do what he usually does, which is basically try to land that right hand. You know, basically don't throw any punches until you can find the opening for that right hand. But not even just a jab. There were moments too where he also landed a check left hook. As a matter of fact, it was a check left hook. It was a check left hook that knocked down Herdone in the second round. And when you go back and you look at that fight, Deontay Wilder knew what he wanted to do in this fight, and he knew that in order to win this fight, he had to be a little bit more of a versatile fighter. And it wasn't because of Tyrell Herndon being elite competition. It was because Deontay Wilder, at this point in his career, there's only so many times that you can just rely on a one hitter quitter. And he realized that in order for him to even have a future in boxing, he's going to have to develop some more skills. So, what did he do? He developed that jab. He was constantly sticking that jab. And even when the jab wasn't landing, it was effective because of that reach that he has. Because of the reach that he has, when he kept on sticking that jab, Tyrell Hordone just couldn't find an answer for it. So, in my opinion, his strategy was incredible. Now, when we go to Herdon's strategy, I also said for Herdon that he needs to be the one to land the first punch. He needs to use feints and basically disguise his attacks. And then, last but not least, basically he needs to cut off angles from Deontay Wilder, and he didn't do any of those. See, Herdon, his problem was this: he wasn't active enough, and he wanted to take the game plan of Joseph Parker, which was a great game plan when Joseph Parker used it against Deontay Wilder, which was basically stay patient, be composed, use some feints, disguise your punches, and basically pressure Wilder. But the problem that Tyrell Herndon had was he wasn't active. In order to beat Deontay Wilder, you got to be active. And there were some moments where he was. Like, I'm not going to lie to y'all. The way I had the fight scored, I gave Deontay Wilder every single round, and I slightly gave the fourth round to Herdon. I know a lot of y'all are going to look at the last 10, 15-second melee that Deontay Wilder had, but in my opinion, for most of that fourth round, I think that Herdon kind of took that round, so I gave him the fourth round. But what I noticed from that fourth round was that Tyrell Herdon, he was starting to pressure Deontay Wilder a little bit, and he was starting to use some feints. He was starting to disguise some punches. That pressure was forcing Deontay Wilder to do a little bit too much, and Deontay Wilder would get clipped. So for me, I feel like that's something he should have stuck with, but he didn't do that in this fight. That was something he should have stuck with, but he didn't. So because of that, I feel like Tyrrell Herndon really didn't have much to work with here. So overall, Deontay Wilder did a great job of just being composed, using his jab, not just relying on the right hand. And eventually, in the seventh round, it was the right hand that would end up stopping the fight for Tyrell Herndon. The ref came in, waved it off, and that was it. But you could tell the reason why the ref waved off that fight. If you go back and you watch that fight, you could tell Herndon didn't want to be in that ring. It seemed like his legs were giving out on him. It seemed like he didn't have the conditioning or the stamina to keep going on and moving forward. And it basically seemed like Herndon had every reason to just try to leave this fight. And the ref was like, look, this guy doesn't want to fight, so we're just going to stop it. So for me, as far as a strategy grade, I got to give it a 7. I mean, I got to give Deontay Wilder a huge shout out. I mean, he had himself a great game plan. Now, I know it's only Tyrell Herndon. It's not an elite level heavyweight, but regardless, it's a good start for Deontay Wilder. Now, we all see what happened when he fought Helenius. The difference between the Helenius fight and this fight, the reason why this fight was okay with me, and I like this fight better than the Helenius fight, is because the Helenius fight showed what we all knew about Deontay Wilder all along, which is he had a one quitter. He had a one hitter quitter. That was what Deontay Wilder has shown us throughout his whole entire career, that he's a one hitter quitter. What this fight showed is that Deontay Wilder has a little bit more versatility. So for me, I think that was a big tool. So I'm gonna give it a 7. Now, as far as excitement, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It was not an exciting fight. I'm gonna be generous. I give it a 6. The excitement was not there. I mean, it was just Deontay Wilder constantly dominating the fight. And don't get me wrong, I give Deontay Wilder a lot of credit because, again, he showed a bunch of different tools. But to me, when one guy's dominating the fight and the other guy's not initiating, it's a boring fight. And to me, this was a boring fight. So I got to give it a 6. I wish it would have ended in, a better knockout, even though Deontay Wilder did get that knockout. He got the knockdown before that as well, so we got to give him credit for that. But overall, that's the thing that bumps it up to a 6. If the knockdown didn't happen, if the knockout didn't happen, this would have been a 5 or below. So for me, I got to give the excitement a 6. There really wasn't anything too exciting in this fight that I could look back at and be like, wow, that had me on the edge of my seat. And the fact that it started really, really late as well, I was already tired. I had a long day of work, and then all of a sudden I gotta go watch this fight. It don't start till, excuse me, like 12 a.m. I'm sorry, but the fight was just boring. It really, I stayed awake. Don't get me wrong. I stayed awake. I watched the entire fight, took my notes, all that type of stuff, but it was really hard to stay awake. So I'm gonna give it a 6. Now the stakes. I'm not gonna lie to you, the stakes were big for Deontay Wilder for his career. It wasn't for the state of boxing. For his career, the stakes were big. So for me, as far as stakes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give it a 7. And the reason why is because Deontay Wilder needed this win. In order to continue with anything in boxing, he had to beat Tyrell Herndon. And I was speculating about whether or not after this fight he should have retired. Maybe he goes after the Anthony Joshua fight. And he said that he feels like this is a new beginning for his career. And me personally, as a fan, that's not what I wanted to hear. But again, Deontay Wilder is going to keep on fighting as long as he can fight. Even though he doesn't have to, he's going to keep on fighting as long as he can. But for me, the stakes were high because this fight continues Deontay Wilder's career a little bit longer. Now, who's to say what happens into the future? Who knows? Maybe Deontay Wilder starts winning a few more matches. Maybe he goes and he has that fight with Anthony Joshua. Maybe he gets another crack at a world title. They said one of the goals on his career still is to be a unified champion. So maybe that could happen. Maybe he could potentially go for an undisputed belt somehow, some way. It's a long shot. I don't think it's gonna happen, but who knows what could happen in the future for Deontay Wilder. But for me, the stakes were big because if he didn't win this fight, or if he didn't have a decisive win, then I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Deontay Wilder would have had a lot of luck in the future of his career. But because he went in there against Tyrell Herndon, because he handled business, because he went in there and he dominated the fight, that helps his career a lot. So to me, the stakes for his career was big. The only reason why I don't give it anything more than a 7 is because for the heavyweight division, it's not. Deontay Wilder, he beat Tyrrell Herndon. It's not like he beat Daniel Dubois or an Alexander Usyk, or a Joseph Parker. It's not like he beat one of these top heavyweight contenders right now or one of these top heavyweight champions. He beat Tyrell Herndon, who really wasn't big competition. So now we got to see what Deontay Wilder does if he wants to continue his career against tougher competition, and how he does again, and how he does with especially his new trainer. Because this new trainer, I mean, he had Deontay Wilder looking really good tonight. I just hope that he can continue to look this good in future fights. There's still some things to clean up. There's still some corners to polish, but overall, I feel like this is a good start for Deontay Wilder. So I'm gonna give it a 7 as far as stakes. And last but not least, impact. I'm not gonna lie to you, this really doesn't impact the heavyweight division a lot. As far as impact, I'm gonna give it a 6. And the reason why I give it a 6 is because Deontay Wilder, because of this win, he still has a shot in that heavyweight division. However, because it was a win against somebody who isn't known for being a world class fighter or a world championship fighter, that's when you really got to start looking at the heavyweight division and realizing that there's really not an impact for Deontay Wilder as of right now. He's still going to have to get some notable wins. He's still going to have to work. And on top of that, Deontay Wilder is pushing 40. So for me, it's going to be really hard for Deontay Wilder to go chase that belt. It's going to be really hard for Deontay Wilder to make his name in the heavyweight division. But there is a fight that can help him out with that. We're going to get to that in a little bit after the overall grade of this fight. But as far as impact, I got to give it a 6. I just really don't see any future plans as of right now for Deontay Wilder that could potentially give him another title shot, can give him another big fight. So I got to give the impact a 6. And then when we do the math, the overall grade for this fight is going to be 6.5. As of right now, that is last on season 5. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be the dead last fight, but it's going to be on the bottom of the barrel. It's definitely not going to hit top 10. But overall, I feel like that's where it belongs. Again, it wasn't an exciting fight. The impact for this fight wasn't high. The biggest stakes that you can make was that Deontay Wilder's career really relied on this fight. And as far as strategy, I gave it a 7 because he did very, very well, but Tyrrell Herndon really did not. So for me, 6.5, I think, is a great grade to have this fight. Now, with that being said, what's next for Deontay Wilder? There's one guy that I want him to fight, and that's Anthony Joshua. And there's a few reasons why I want him to fight Anthony Joshua. Again, he didn't make clear. The interviewer didn't really ask him what's next in his career. They didn't really specify what would be next. But here's the reason why I want to see the Anthony Joshua fight. Because Anthony Joshua is coming off of a loss against Daniel Dubois. Both these guys got some doubt around them right now. So to have this fight, one fighter being a British superstar and the other fighter being one of the first American heavyweight champions in a very, very long time, when you put those two together and you put them on a big stadium or you put them on a big stage, it's going to generate numbers, going to generate tickets. And because both of those guys have those names, whoever wins that fight is going to be right back into that title picture. And with that being said, the third reason why I want Deontay Wilder to take this fight is because this is his best route at becoming a heavyweight champion again. To become a heavyweight champion for Deontay Wilder, it's a long shot. It's a long shot in itself. I mean, and that's just me being generous. But the only way I can see Deontay Wilder getting a heavyweight championship opportunity is by fighting Anthony Joshua, beating Anthony Joshua, and then fighting the winner of Dubois and Tyson Fury, excuse me, Dubois and Alexander Usyk, or fighting the winner of Joseph Parker versus whoever that winner might be. But I do believe that a fight against Anthony Joshua is his best way back to a championship. And that benefits Anthony Joshua because it's a big fight that Anthony Joshua can put on his resume. It's a money fight that Anthony Joshua can look forward to, and it's another shot for Anthony Joshua to become heavyweight champion again. But that to me is Deontay Wilder's best way to becoming a champion. So for me, there really isn't another opponent that he could fight besides Anthony Joshua. Sure, you can put him up against somebody like Caballel. You could put him up against Ajaba. You could put him up against Atama. I mean, there's guys you can put him up against. Don't get me wrong. You know, you can try to rematch him with Joseph Parker or Jay Lee Zhang, but to me, none of those make any sense. I think that his next fight, if it's maybe like 6, 7 months away, if it's him versus Anthony Joshua, you make this big, huge promotion. There really wasn't a lot of promotion for this fight. So overall, I mean, when you have it in Wichita, Kansas, there's really not a lot of promotion. There really wasn't a lot of hype. There wasn't no trash talking. none of that stuff. So when you put two very famous heavyweight champions or former heavyweight champions in the same stage on a big stage, you give them the time to promote this fight to hype it up. And this is a fight that obviously a lot of boxing fans have been wanting to see for a very, very long time. That does a huge thing for both of these fighters. And then whoever wins that fight is guaranteed a heavyweight opportunity, a heavyweight title opportunity over a lot of guys that might deserve it more, but regardless, because of that big win and because you already have the name, you already have the attention, you already have the spotlight. You're going to put it back onto the heavyweight division. So it's just the easiest way for Deontay Wilder to get another shot at that title. So for me, Wilder versus Anthony Joshua should be the fight to make. They should already be going through the talks, everything like that. Obviously, Anthony Joshua being a matchroom box fighter. Obviously, Deontay Wilder helping out Matchroom and basically signing with them for a couple of fights. I think that it's a fight that's doable to make, and even though Deontay Wilder might not be fully invested in Matchroom right now, I'm pretty sure he can come back around and they can make a fight happen. But overall, I mean, I'm just glad to see Deontay Wilder back into the ring. You know, it's been a long time coming. I feel like the boxing world is better with the Bronze Bomber in it. Again, it's better when Bomb Squad is active. So, shout out to Deontay Wilder on getting this win, another knockout win. As far as Tyrrell Herndon, I mean, keep your head up, man. You know, I mean, the guys fought, I mean, between Deontay Wilder, Richard Torres, he fought a Jabba. I mean, the guys fought some okay competition, but he's hasn't really shown up. And I mean, the best advice I can give to Tyrell Herndon is keep on grinding, you know, and hopefully when you get some type of opportunity that's similar to this again, just don't miss it. And so, with that being said, it's time for us to log out. Again, make sure y'all continue to tune into the Puncher's Point. Make sure y'all continue to tune into the social media. Look, the reason why I keep telling y'all to tune into the Puncher's Point is because the Puncher's Point is what boxing media is supposed to be. And look, y'all can be new to the sport of boxing. I got y'all. Y'all can be advanced in the sport of boxing, I got y'all. But regardless, if you love the sport of boxing, you're trying to gain a love for the sport of boxing, this is the right place to be. So, with that being said, make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.